Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So excited to be here. Hello. So, just in case you don't know or you're just logging in, today we are having a live Q&A with a hypnosis practitioner, medium. Hi, everyone. So good to see you. Hello. Salut. Anyway, sorry. So we're going to be speaking with Tanya today. She is a medium and a hypnosis practitioner, amongst many other things, but those are the two things we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to be hanging out for just a minute, waiting for her to log on. I know it can be kind of confusing the first time you do a live, and I believe this is her first time, so we're just going to give her some time. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions about hypnosis and mediumship, meaning if you don't know what mediumship is, it's the practice of speaking to spirit. So she is a medium, which means she is somebody who's able to speak to spirit and translate messages with that your ancestors, your guides, your angels, whoever want to relay to you. So, yeah, that's what mediumship is. So, yeah, if you have any questions about hypnosis or mediumship, please send them in. This is going to be really fun to delve deep into. I'm so fascinated by hypnosis and speaking with spirit. It's so intriguing. So, hello, Danielle. So happy to see you, beautiful. Oh, Mohammed, you laugh well. Oh, thank you. I think my laugh's kind of goofy, but okay. You know, when I was in grade school, they used to call me Miss Piggy because of my laugh, because I snort when I laugh really, really hard. Like when you really get me going, I can snort. So, just like you wanted to know that, but oh well. In the meantime, how are you guys doing? Hello, welcome. It's tea time. You guys got your coffee, your cup of tea? You ready for some witchy talk? I'm so excited for this. Oh, it looks like Tanya just joined. So we're going to wait for just a minute. She should be hopping on soon. Beautiful. Yeah. Hello, dear. She should be hopping on real soon. Hello, hello.
Hi. How are you?
I am so happy. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Very well. We can hear you beautifully, so.
Okay, good.
At least I can. Can everybody else hear okay? Let us know. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm like I said, I'm so happy. I'm excited. I was just filling everybody in a little bit of background as to what to expect, but if you'd like to introduce yourself, let us just know who you are, a little bit about what you do, and then we'll just jump right in.
So, how are you, everyone? My name is Tanya. I'm from Tanya Torres Hypnosis, and now, I've joined with Divine Healers Haven. I've been a registered nurse for 14 years. I'm also a hypnosis practitioner and a Reiki master and an intuitive medium.
Beautiful. Like that's a mouthful for sure.
Definitely.
Goodness. So, Tanya, how did you get into Reiki and hypnotherapy and mediumship?
I think starting my own journey, when you go through the dark night of the soul and you just try to look for things to help heal yourself, that's how I got into um, my journey. I started seeing things and hearing things that kind of didn't make sense to me physically. So I started to look in the spiritual realm to see, like, where is this coming from? Why is this happening to me? So then I started taking classes to just kind of develop my gifts and to heal myself on the way.
That's beautiful. Would it be okay to share a little bit of what you're going through? Because I know a lot of us are going through some things that could probably definitely relate to something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey started, I think, about 2 years ago. Um, I had a physical experience. I guess it was physical and spiritual, where something appeared to me, which was so freaky and scary. And I knew something that it was out of my control, and it brought so much fear to me. Something appeared to me physically in my room overnight, and I was like, what is this? And I could physically see it. It had a figure and it had a shape to it, and it completely froze me. I had like paralysis of the whole body.
Wow.
And I could feel this thing, this entity stealing my energy
Mm-hmm.
off of my body. So I'm like, oh my God, how can I protect myself from this happening to me again? Because I was like, this will happen to me again if I don't learn how to protect myself. So it made me realize, okay, we are here living this, experience physically, but there is another side to this. There's a spiritual aspect to it. So I'm like, I need to dive into that and find out. So I started seeking knowledge and reading and researching, and I started meditation, and that really opened me up. And just clearing your mind, clearing your thoughts, and receiving your own divine guidance. And I was never a spiritual person. I grew up in the church, but I didn't kind of believe everything that I was told. But it really opened me up to see that there's things outside of you, energies outside of you that do exist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I,
kind of where it started. And then I, I, I had a hypnosis session, which really turned my life around, that because I wanted to know why these things were happening to me. Like, what was the point of all of this? And in the hypnosis session, I basically say that I had that physical experience to wake myself up, and that I was such a physical being that I was not going to wake up unless I physically saw it.
Interesting. Okay, so speaking of which, could you tell us how does hypnosis work? Because that sounds like to me like you had no idea that that was a message you had deep down inside for yourself. So could you walk us through like how that works?
Absolutely. So hypnosis is basically a naturally occurring state. You kind of go in a really relaxed trance. And we do it all the time. We do it every day. Like, you're driving a car and you're like, oh my God, I'm already here. And you don't know how you got there. You're in a trance. You're watching a movie with a friend. You're feeling the emotions and you're crying. If there's a love story, you're in a trance. You're in hypnosis. If you're before you wake up or before you go to sleep, you're in a trance. You're in hypnosis. So we do it every day. We don't even realize that we're doing it. It's just you're guided by the person's voice to get into this relaxed state. Your muscles completely relaxed. And during hypnosis, you're able to kind of tap into that subconscious part of yourself, the part that knows everything about you, the part that knows your emotions, your physical reactions to things, everything that comes second nature to you. That's what you tap into.
Interesting. So how is that different than like meditating or something like that?
It's kind of an enhanced form of meditation, because you can meditate and get in a hypnotic state. But in meditation, you're doing it on your own. During hypnosis, you have a trained practitioner that's guiding you through and giving you the right positive suggestions for you to make the change in your life.
Interesting. So is it not something you can do yourself? You always have to have somebody there guiding you through the hypnosis exercise?
I mean, you can do self hypnosis. There's a lot of self hypnosis videos, but it's different when you're doing it with someone. For self hypnosis, you need 30 days to start changing the behavior, to start changing the habit.
Okay.
During the hypnosis, it can happen instantly.
Interesting. So you mentioned, but self-hypnosis, you said changing the habit. So what would self-hypnosis be used for? Like changing habits and or anything
Like,
else?
some people use it for weight loss,
Okay.
um, smoking, fear. When I started to get into that fear state, I was watching videos of just affirmation videos where it's like, I am fearless, I am this, I am that, just like programming myself to get out of that fear state. So then, God forbid something like that would happen to me again, I will be prepared. And I did that for a long time, maybe 6 months. And I
Wow.
noticed after the first month, my pattern of behavior started to change inside of me, and I was not fearful, and I was ready. I was like, if anything comes at me tonight, I'm ready.
I love it.
And I taught myself how to do protection, like sealing yourself in a white bubble of light always works. Nothing negative can touch you if you seal yourself in a white bubble of light.
I love that visualization. I use that visualization a lot, definitely. Like even when there's a loud noise and it's just kind of a breeze, I'm like, wasn't prepared for that. I just immediately go bloop. and I see my
Yeah,
light bubble, I'm like, nope. I
yeah,
love
absolutely.
that. Beautiful. So okay, so if I want to do a hypnosis session, what can I expect other than being extremely relaxed? Like, what would the process be?
Um, I usually go through a pre-talk with the individual. Like we'll do like a pre-talk session where I'm asking that person questions, how
Okay.
old they are, their age, um, are they in a relationship, any past loved ones that might come up in the session, what emotions they're dealing with, what they want to work on, um, what challenges they're having. Do they have pain in the body? It's whatever they want to address in the moment. So I'm asking them like a series of questions so I can kind of jot down, and then I have a frame of mind. Okay, this is what I'm going to work on this person with. This is what I want to dive into. This is what I want to leave alone. And
Mm,
then I just kind of work from there.
okay. So, other than like losing weight or changing habits, what may be some deeper reasons why somebody would want to go through hypnosis? Kind of like what you went through, like you know, just an example.
I get a lot of past life regressions. That's a huge
Okay.
one.
Interesting.
People are really into that. Childhood traumas,
Mm,
repressed emotions, repressed memories. I have I don't remember anything before I was 9 years old. What is that about? So
mm.
I deal with that. I get more those kind of issues than weight loss and addictions. I think people are just curious of, what they did in a past life. Right
Yeah,
now, that's a big one.
I would definitely be curious about that because sometimes I feel like I have thoughts, or there is actually two memories of mine that I've had since ever I could remember, but I can't decide whether or not it was a dream or a memory. And if they were memories, they were quite spiritual, let's just say. So it's that would definitely be something I would be curious as to if hypnosis could help me figure that out.
Oh
Do you,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We can dive into lost memories, past life. Sometimes they're intertwined. It's a memory of a past life. A lot of people come in with physical symptoms that are not from this current life. It's from a past life as well.
wow.
Um, so those things are really interesting.
So does that mean like if, for instance, somebody were suffering from like asthma, does that mean they possibly passed away in a past life from being drowned or um, fire,
Hmm.
suffocation, or something like
Hmm.
that? Like that could just be a manifestation of a past life experience.
Absolutely. They call it
Interesting.
bleeding through lives.
Interesting. And so this is the type of thing you cover during hypnosis.
Absolutely.
Wow. So is it dangerous? Because it sounds really intense.
Some people think that they're going to get trapped in
Yeah.
hypnosis and they're never going to come out. Absolutely not. God forbid, let's say me and you were doing a hypnosis and we get disconnected. You will either fall asleep and wake up in a couple of hours, or you gently wake yourself up. So
Okay.
you're absolutely, people are saying, oh my God, am I sleeping? You're not sleeping. You're completely conscious. You're just in a super relaxed state. You know what's going on all the time. And also, people are afraid. They're like, Tanya, you're going to make me do something that I don't want to do. Absolutely not. That will never happen. If
Yeah.
your subconscious protects you, and you will not do anything that you wouldn't do if you were completely, totally conscious. Like if I tell you get naked, unless you're a stripper, you're not going to get naked.
You're like, oh, another day at work. Okay.
Yeah, like no, you're absolutely not, because that's not your human nature to do that.
Interesting.
So your subconscious protects you.
So we've been lied to all these years when we see people get up on a stage and the
It's
person's
a
like, do the
trick.
chicken dance and they do a chicken
Yeah, it's a trick. It's a trick. That's just for fun and for illusion.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's not true hypnosis because it sounds like true
No.
hypnosis means it's more of a therapy almost, like well, not almost like actually it sounds like
Yeah.
therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, it is an actual therapy. I believe it was adopted in the 1950s, under the American Medical Association,
Mm.
and they adopted it into a therapeutic modality. So it's absolutely a therapy.
So now this might just be my perception, but I feel like hypnosis isn't super popular. Am I wrong?
I think it's a little taboo because of what people see on TV.
That's what I was getting at.
I think it should be definitely spread wider. It's such a wonderful tool, even for the littlest things to the biggest things. Like, I have a friend that I asked her, I have so many hypnosis practitioner friends, and I say, I need to forgive so and so. Can you do a hypnosis for me? And I go in and they put me in a trance and I forgive the person that I'm holding whatever towards, like it's, and I go like an hour session and I let out what I have to get out and I keep it pushing.
So does that work like the first time, or do you have to keep on doing it?
I think because I'm already trained to go under so quickly, because of practicing and all that, I'm like a pretty easy
Okay.
hypnosis client. But I think I actually haven't had an issue putting people under ever, ever. People are usually pretty good, unless you're super analytic like I am. I'm a nurse. I need to know when, why, and how.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? What's the plan? Like, I
God.
have that analytical brain. I
Mhm.
rationalize everything. But people are super easy, super straightforward. It's almost like you said, a meditation. You start off with a meditation, and then your mind kind of floats off, and you're there.
Interesting. God, I'm so fascinated by that. Because, like you said, like really the majority that I know about it is, what Hollywood has put out there. So it kind of looks like shenanigans to me. But after meeting you and speaking with you, like I was just so enthralled because of the way your experience, especially with when you told me how you told yourself that you put this in your experience to wake you up. That just gave me goosebumps because like how and why would you make something up like that? Like it was just so true. And it's like, so it just threw me down this rabbit hole of thinking like, whoa, what secret messages are our subconscious
Holding,
waiting for
yeah.
us to open?
Just like
And
Pandora's box.
yeah,
It's so much and it's so vast. And it's crazy because I almost felt like during that experience, I didn't know what was going to come out next out of my mouth. Like it was something outside of me, and you really are able to get into your higher self and kind of like channel that higher aspect of yourself, the one that knows everything about you.
that's incredible. It's so incredible that it's so accessible, yet we are so in disbelief that we're like, nah, that doesn't really, okay, whatever. Like, not for me, I could never. But you're the reason, like, you're the person that helps us achieve that. We don't have to do it on our own. Like you said, there is self-hypnosis, but it's so enticing to me to know that there's somebody who's just a click away that could help me just unpack my soul and all, like, my whole lineage, not just this.
Absolutely.
Like that's just so incredible. I wish I would have known about this sooner. Been more open-minded to it sooner. I knew about it sooner, but open-minded to it. Interesting. So how do I know when and if I need hypnosis? Because maybe I'm somebody who just doesn't think I need it, or it wouldn't benefit me. Like, what's your opinion on that?
That's an excellent question. I think if you've been working on something, let's say a couple of months, and you haven't found the solution, or I don't even want to say years. I wouldn't want people to get to years that they can't find the solution. Sometimes you go to therapists and you're talking about it for so long and you're kind of not making any headway. But with hypnosis, you're like diving into the origin of that problem. You go straight to the root and you just rip it out. And then that's where you can start the work and the rebuilding.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So it's like you're just not seeing any results. You could have been trying to live healthier, not necessarily lose weight, but just feel and live healthy, or, get over toxic relationships or something like that. And it just seems to keep on happening no matter how much genuine and good faith effort you put into your progress. You just don't seem to be getting anywhere.
Absolutely. Like an example, like you are in you're constantly in an abusive relationship. This year is John, next week is Harry, and then maybe the year after that it's Tom. And it's just like the common denominator is you, it's not these guys. So you have to find out what is it about you that, number one, you know, maybe you saw an abusive relationship, maybe your parents were hitting on each other. Like, what is it about you that you're attracting these kind of guys? So that's where we kind of dive in, deprogram that part of you. And 99.9% is a childhood memory of something that happened to you, or something you saw that you thought was okay, that this is the way a man is supposed to treat you, or the way a relationship is supposed to be. And so we get to that point, that origin, and sometimes a little bit before we attack the problem there, and we kind of reframe what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like.
Beautiful. So, like, does something like that take multiple experiences, or can that be achieved in like a single visit?
Sometimes, I want to say 80% is the first session, and sometimes people need follow-ups,
Okay.
depending if you need it to be reinforced.
Okay.
I know weight loss and addiction, those are things that need multiple sessions. Those things need to be um, reinforced.
So this isn't necessarily something that, we're not saying this will cure you and then you'll be fine. Like, this is obviously in addition to, seeing your doctor, seeing
Absolutely.
is doing the usual good faith, efforts of
Hmm.
achieving your goals. But this is just like the extra, like if you've tried everything else and you just need some extra guidance, you've like something like this could really be the extra um, little oomph, like a little click into place that
Absolutely.
could really just change everything.
But I think everyone should have hypnosis, whatever it is. You might think that it's the tiniest thing, but everyone should have a hypnosis. Like for me, forgiveness, the fear element. It's also good for empowering yourself, changing your mindset. Um, Whether it is looking for another job, or in a new relationship, or just deprogramming money blocks, whatever it is that you think. My thing is that if you created it in your mind, you're the only one that could take it out of your mind. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is. And hypnosis is like the best, so beneficial. Like, I love it. I'm so passionate about it. And I wish more people, I want to get out the word, like, people, let's get this hypnosis going.
Because I mean, it is hard. I mean, I have to be honest. I would say about 4 years ago, I was working a job, and this gentleman, his mother was a is a hypnotherapist. I'm sure she still is. And my first reaction was like, ooh, not like, oh, interesting. It was more like,
Hmm.
you know, um, comical. I didn't take it seriously, and
Right.
I'm sure I was the most benign response of them all, for sure, because I'm sure people are just straight up like devil work, and
Right.
that
Right.
can be so difficult, especially when all you're doing is you are sharing this miraculous tool that can help people grow and overcome things. So kudos to you. Like, keep
Thank
fighting the
you.
good fight, sister.
Yeah.
You got
But
this.
I'm gonna tell you, there is a spiritual aspect to hypnosis that people don't know about, and people get freaked out about. Because during hypnosis, you can receive messages from your past loved ones, your ancestors can come through. Um, I have found entities on people that don't belong there, like spirits that are attached to people. Um,
Now that's
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it can get really intense, and people are like, "Oh, I've had this pain in my knee for 10 years," and then when we go to that knee, there's an entity there just chilling, stealing your energy, and we would have never known it. And so now you're working from like a spiritual energy perspective, and this is like, some people are like, oh, it's so woo woo, but it's not. Like, some people have even called me like exorcist, spiritual exorcist, and I'm like, wait a minute, spiritual shaman, shaw woman. I'm
Mhm.
like, wait a minute. But there's different aspects, and I work with the light. I work with the creators, light, and I put my love and my energy into every single client, and I do a body scan for everyone that I do hypnosis, just to check to see that everything is fully functioning and all the chakras are aligned. And those are the times that we find stuff.
Interesting. Um, so you're a medium though, correct? Right? So everybody knows we're on the same page, you're a medium. That seems to me like, is that so much hypnosis where you're finding these spirits, or is that your unique combination of abilities and perception to be able to guide the person into hypnosis, but also use your spiritual gifts, your mediumship, to be able to detect those spirits, because that to me doesn't sound like typical hypnosis. I'm sorry, not to like knock you down and then build you
Yeah,
back up
no,
a
you're
few
right.
levels,
You're right.
but I
And
mean,
and
come on,
and
let's
and
call it
you
how it
know, you're
is.
you're absolutely right. And I feel like I think I was highly intuitive, even though I didn't know it. But what how I learned was introspective hypnosis, which has a spiritual aspect of it, where you use light, where you use colors, where you use angels, where you use whatever the person believes in. That's what you use, because you're going to get the maximum result, because this is, what they believe in, what they're motivated, and what they believe in. So that's how I learned. I didn't learn the typical way. I'm in the process now, in hypnotherapy school, to get the actual degree for hypnotherapy, to learn the other aspects the traditional way, because I have a lot of traditional clients. um and I forgot the question.
Well, because you were describing your hypnotherapy session as like you find entities and spirits from past lives, and even you download um, messages from people of past from our past lives, and so that just sounds to me more of like your mediumship work, which is something I definitely wanted to cover as well, because you just have this beautiful approach to blending your gifts and being able to give somebody an incredibly just unique experience. And so I'd like to like get into that for sure, because it sounds like that was more of like your mediumship work to me, but I could be
Yeah.
not you
No,
like.
you're right. And I think I didn't realize it. I realized it probably later, when I was doing it, maybe like a year into it, that I was in the hypnosis with the client, and I would see what the client was going to go through before the client would tell me. And I'm like, huh, this is strange. But I feel like, okay, I'm in a movie. They're telling me a story. So I'm in it with them, not knowing that that was like my spiritual gifts kind of opening up. And then I took a mediumship course, just to kind of hone in those abilities and not have so much scatter and distraction, and just be able to focus in my mind's eye, the messages that I was receiving. And that's when it really kind of just blew up, that when I started having sessions with clients, it was so clear and evident to me that I'm like, oh my God, I'm bringing in loved ones, I'm bringing in ancestors, I'm bringing in guides, angels. And I'm like, what is this? Like, we're not in Kansas anymore.
So you kind of stumbled into it on accident.
Well,
Interesting.
I think when I worked in hospice for a year as an RN, and when my patients would pass away, they would give me messages for their loved ones. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a nurse. This is kind of like a little bit on the unethical side. Like, can I give these messages to these parents and them not think I'm crazy? Like, because every time a patient would pass, they would give me a loving message for their loved one. And I'm like, how am I going to do this?
Okay.
So I kind of had to weigh the pros and the cons. For the people that I thought were spiritually open, I would give the message. And the ones that I didn't think that were open enough, I would just mentally send them the message, and
Mm.
hopefully their subconscious would grab it. But wonderful, loving messages to the families that are soothing and healing. And so they can know, like, listen, your family member is doing great. They're in the light, they're with the creator. So that's kind of how that started. And I was kind of repressing it because it was freaky. They would come at all hours of the day, when I'm sleeping, when I'm awake. And I'm like, I'm still living in this 3D world. So I need to kind of focus on my husband, my kids. But I'm receiving all these outside messages. So I just shut it off. And I was like, please don't disturb me. Like, please, I thank you so much. I'm humbled, but please don't disturb me. And then when I started the hypnosis, it just kind of came back flooded. And I knew, okay, I have to use this.
That's so incredible. So you know what it feels. Okay, so I want to ask, before you yourself experienced entities visiting you, messages, were you somebody that believed in that type of thing, like ghosts and spirits, and etc.?
I feel like I knew it could exist. I don't think I was 100% on it. Like, yeah, I know ghosts exist. I know spirits
Mm-hmm.
are a thing. Like, I wasn't super spiritual or even religious, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
in any kind of way. Um, so I want to say no, but
Okay.
but it was kind of like in my face, like, here it is. What are you gonna do with this? So I
Yeah.
had to kind of like deal with it.
So then you understand how difficult it can sometimes be for somebody to truly grasp that this is reality, this is actuality. Like hypnosis, it really does work. There really are spirits communicating, and that can communicate through people and to people. So, what would your message be to people who are kind of like on the fence, who want to believe, who theoretically believe, but still have resistance to truly embracing it, because that could be the last barrier to them being able to take that step to using those tools to um, further health and wealth, you know, and happiness.
I I just say keep your mind open. Keep your mind open. Think outside of the box. Don't keep your mind in that very closed program where they want to keep us in. I just feel like they don't talk about spirituality in school. They don't talk about a lot of the things that we need to expand our children on, like finances. Why are they not telling our kids about getting a bank account? Why are they not, telling our kids that everyone has spiritual gifts and you can activate them at any time as long as you're persistent? Practice makes perfect. When I started my journey, I didn't know how to meditate. I think it took me a good 6 months to meditate by myself and actually be able to clear my thoughts. And then when you clear your thoughts and there's nothingness, that's when you have messages from your guidance and your team and your angels.
Mm.
That's where that all comes from. And then I was like, but I need more, I need more. And then I became a practitioner of hypnosis. And then I was like, this is amazing, I need more. And I became a Reiki practitioner. I'm like, okay, and this is where service to others come in. What can I do as an individual? I know I'm a spiritual being having this physical experience. This is what my guidance tell me. This is what my soul feels is true to me. So how can I help others open up and experience that as well?
Mm. Yes, definitely. Um, I think I don't know how to say the name. Mugathag. Mug
Huge thing.
Mugathag.
Is everyone able to, absolutely, everyone is able to be hypnotized. Absolutely. Like I said, you do it every day. You
Mm.
hypnotize yourself every day. You just don't know. Highway hypnosis, you're driving, you get to a destination. You're like, damn, I didn't even know how I got here. You're being hypnotized. You're watching a movie.
Mm.
When you're having those emotions and those, like, you're in the movie and nothing else outside of you. The kids could be running around and playing and you're just in that movie focus. You're being hypnotized. It's different when you do a practitioner and a client level. All I do is relax you. I relax you into a certain point where you feel like, I don't know if you've seen Get Out, where you feel like you're in the sunken place. Like you're
No.
like, yeah, you feel like you're in this, I don't want to say black hole, but you feel like you're in this so super relaxed place that you can hear your most clearest thoughts. I just teach you to kind of like shut the chatter mind, the monkey brain. I teach you to kind of put that in the back seat. I teach you to put your ego in the back seat and bring your subconscious mind to the forefront so that you can have all your clear answers. And guess what? All the answers are inside of you. You don't need to go anywhere else but inside of yourself.
I wanted to talk about something that you just said that reminded me of a post. I believe it was you who posted it, was that everybody's associating God with something outside of themselves, but God is within us. God is us. And whether you label it God, I personally don't. I say goddess at the very least, or the universe. I love saying the universe, the mother. That's how I think of it. So whatever you define that as, you are it, though. Like it is
Absolutely.
not an entity outside of you. So when you say the answers are inside of yourself, and I even saw Famous Gifts commented, you were chosen, technically you were chosen by yourself. Whatever you focus on, you will find and create. That's what God does. It creates, it creates itself. And we are just a manifestation. At least I believe we're a manifestation, just one teeny speck of it in the grand entity universal design of it. So when you say that the answers are already there, it's so important for people to understand why, because you are divine. You are already like the
You
subconscious
are it.
mind.
You
Yeah,
are the God particle. You are a fractal of source incarnate. That is what you are. And it says it in the Bible for the churchy people. The kingdom of God is inside of you.
mm-hmm.
You know, everything that you need is inside of you. You have a whole universe inside of you. So it's up to you to determine how you're going to use that, and what gifts you're going to bring out in this lifetime. You have it all at your fingertips.
Exactly. And it's so scary and thrilling to realize that it's okay. Once this lifetime's over, we're going to come right back again and just try it all over again. So try to heal as much as you can this time so
Exactly.
you don't
You don't want to come
suffer
back for the
next
same
time. Right?
stuff.
Sheesh. Gosh, being
So
woke
somebody just
sometimes.
asked about, yeah, somebody asked that they had a session and they couldn't get there for a few hours trying. I want to say sometimes you have a session with a practitioner and they're not as competent as they say they are, and sometimes they make a couple little boo-boos. That's number one. Number two, if you're not ready for the session, if you come in thinking, having these huge expectations, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go into a past life with this, I'm going to do that, it's not going to happen. When I went into my session, I had all these expectations of what was going to happen to me, what I was going to learn. It was the total opposite. You just have to go with an open mindset. Um, you have to have the proper motivation and the intent for the healing, and then just kind of let your mind be free. Let your mind be free and know that whatever you're going to get for that day, that's what you're going to receive. Like, don't have any expectations and just be open to the process.
Okay. So how would somebody know whether or not it was because the practitioner was not so great
I
or
don't think
it
they would
was
know until they have a bad experience.
gotcha. So
Yeah.
interesting. So your first line of suggestion would be try somebody else. And if it seems to keep on happening, then maybe it is something that you're holding on to that you need to be a little like let go more.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. I mean,
You're
hey, if you're
welcome.
asking, Tanya is available, everyone. Please. I mean,
I am.
she's
I'm waiting
incredible.
for you guys.
I mean, this is why I want to have these talks so people have a chance to get to know the real person, the real behind the healer title, or so to speak. Because, I mean, um, her expertise and knowledge is top notch. And not only that, though, the way she handles the session is incredible. I have to say, I had my very first and only so far medium experience with Tanya. And I hope you guys will bear with me for a second. I tell you this just because I want to like explain why I am such a believer. Virtual, yes. I had my first virtual experience with her, and that was something I asked. I'm like, does spirit truly show up to Zoom? Right? Because that's just funny to visualize a ghost coming like,
It's
hello, I can hear
weird.
you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
You know?
weird, but I'm gonna tell you, you can only experience it for yourself when it happens, because the energy in the room changes. Like, we're having the session, me and Sophia, my room changes, her room changes. Like, you can feel the energies outside of us, that it's not us coming through, it's our guidance, our teams, and both our teams are coming through giving us this guidance, because we work together like a symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, Sophia, go ahead.
No, it's fine. No, it's symbiotic. uh, yeah, and I have to be honest with everybody. I'm always one of those people that I love and I accept and I know spiritual things are real and exist and it's not just physical world. However, my analytical side of my brain hates me and always wants
Absolutely.
to be like pick it apart, be like, okay, but this, okay, but this, okay, but this. I need I need proof, I need to see it for myself. So when I had my experience with you, I came to it very accepting, very open, very eager to have an experience. But at the same time, I was just like, there's a reason why I never sought out a medium experience, because there's a piece of me that wasn't quite believing that this would actually be something that I would feel is real. Like, first and foremost, I don't have very many people in my life as of now that have passed away in my personal circle. I have 3 people that I've known, and only one of them was actually somebody who was close to me, and not even that close for very long. So when this spirit showed up to our session without any prompting from you, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. It blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
And I was blown away because not only did you describe this person so on point, but at one point you I don't know, like, is this okay to share? I
No,
just
go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. You asked for me to ask the spirit to identify themselves with something only I would understand. And what they identified themselves by was not something that I at first thought was an acceptable identity, right? So even during the process, I could still like that mate told me that I was still having a little resistance, right?
Yeah, doubting yourself and doubting yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's okay because 30 seconds later, when you were
you
talking, I was
remembered.
like, oh my God. Like the identity just clicked. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me, because it was so much more in my face than I was expecting. Like I was expecting something else, like something so vague and like ethereal or whatever, but it was like, no, this is me, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it. So I like instantly I was like, this healer, this woman, this conduit, this medium, she has such an intimate link with the spiritual world that I have no doubt if somebody wanted to have a hypnosis experience or to speak to spirit through you, they would definitely get a valuable and treasured experience that would, just benefit them in the long run. Because I can't say enough. I cannot say enough good things, and just like I want to shake everybody and be like, do this for yourself, seriously, because I'm so enthralled with the messages that I received, and truly life changing. Like I'm so impacted by our experience. So anyways, you go ahead and talk now. I'm going to shut up for a second.
Oh, no, I wanted to just say that what I do is the way I learned how to do it was evidential mediumship, where you have to bring through the evidence. Like you have to show the client this is their person, like whatever it is. That's why I sometimes I say it out loud, or like some people think I'm talking to myself, but I'm not. I'm talking to the spirit, but I'm just like, show me something that sometimes I know the person too. So show me something I don't know about this person, some one concrete, like bullseye evidence that this person is going to know this is their person, this is their loved
Mm-hmm,
one.
mm-hmm.
And they give it to me. They give it to me. Sometimes it depends on the spirit, if they're like a shyer spirit, or depending on the spirit's personality in life. But 99% they give it to me. Now, if I get it wrong, that's on me and not the spirit, because sometimes the way they show it to me, they flash it to me so fast. I have to pick it up quickly and then kind of like decipher it. But
Yeah, oh,
these
yeah, that
the
totally makes sense.
communication is crazy.
That makes sense. I think at one point you were describing my person. My person was my great grandma. I love her. I miss her. But you were describing her as wearing a very long floor length dress, and and this I think would be an example of one of those like little flashes that's a little hard to decipher. This might be what you mean, but she wasn't known for dresses, but she would always wear 2-piece polyester suits because she's like the 70s just stuck with her, right? So she always had like the bright like indigo blue with like the purple lining and like the little suits, and like she just like neck to
Yeah.
ankle, and she was always covered. But I could see how that would be misconstrued as a dress in a flash. So it's stuff like that. I would assume that it's easy to mix up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, all right. Enough about me and my grandma. All right. So I have a fun question I want to ask you. I don't know if it's really relevant or applicable. You just give me your thoughts on this. But I ask, is hypnotherapy magic or science or both?
I want to say for me, I say both. It's definitely a science. It's proved to be, a modality, a therapeutic modality by, the American, oh God, Science Association, if I'm not, from the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. So, and then I say magic because I put a twist to it. I have a little flavor that I use with my hypnosis where I use, the power of light and the power of color and the power of spirituality. So I say both. I think for me, it's both. I think other people use different modalities, whatever works for them and whatever works to get the client to the space where they can deprogram that negative thinking pattern and able to make it into a positive. It's just whatever works with the client.
Beautiful. So there's definitely different like flavors out there for different clients. Like if you want a more scientific method and straightforward, there's definitely that. But it sounds like you are very much more spiritual and creative, and you go with the flow. You're kind of just a conduit, not just, but are.
Definitely. And I feel that when I am in that hypnotic state, because I feel like me and the client are both in this hypnotic trance together. We're like on the same team. Maybe I'm like the captain and they're the team player, but we're like in this dance of some sort. But I feel like my voice changes. I'm like, who is this person? When I hear myself back, I'm like, that doesn't even sound like me. I feel like I'm definitely channeling, the higher aspect of myself. And some of the things that come out of my mouth is like unlike me. So I feel like it's like a two-way kind of dance between me and the client.
Yeah, I definitely can back you up on that. There was a moment during our session where I was asking a question, and before I could even finish answering it, your answer was just so like boom,
And sometimes my voice changes and I'm like,
yeah,
sometimes in the mediumship sessions, they definitely want to talk through me, and I have to be kind of careful of what I'm going to allow to come through my being. We do a lot of protection before anyway. And I only ask, beings of the light to kind of come through and give us messages. But I do see that I say we a lot, like is your guidance team kind of talking through me as a group, because they're a huge group behind you. Everybody has their team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's such a, speaking from a customer experience afterwards, it's such intense sensation to know that, especially if it's your first one, to realize how supported you are. Because angels can seem like such an abstract idea, like angels, oh, there's an angel, like there's a horde of angels and they're in charge of everybody. But no, you have your intimate spirit guides, your angels, your mentors, your ancestors, whoever. And once you realize that they're there and they're not going anywhere, you feel so held and so empowered. And you feel like you have a cheat book almost now, because now you know where to go to ask for the big questions of life. If you ever need somebody to lean on, they're there for you. And I've had that sensation ever since, and it's getting me like jittery just thinking about it, because just thinking about them kind of for me just awakens their energy in my space. I'm just like, okay, wait, no, I'm not ready to talk. But for me, that was such a beautiful side effect of my session with you, is to just, after that moment, always have this realization that I'm not alone. I've never been alone. And I now have this incredible team to help me.
Absolutely. And I want to tell for all our listeners, your team is always with you. You can always tap into them and ask for help. They're literally waiting for us to ask for help. All we have to do is ask. And you could write it in a journal. You could say it out loud. You could say it in your mind. Like whatever issue you're going through, just ask and tell them, give me a sign that I will understand, to show me what I need to do, what's my next step. And trust me, they are going to show you. It could be a flash on a TV, a song, a YouTube video, something in the paper. They're going to give you that message. Just ask.
Yep. Yeah, those coincidences are actually messages, for sure.
There's no coincidences. Coincidences don't exist. Everything is supposed to happen for a reason.
Ooh, I love that. I love your philosophy. I could just sit here and listen to you all day. Um, so hang on. I wanted to ask you a question and I'm afraid that I missed it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to throw them up. I think we're gonna have to end this in the next 10 minutes or so. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. Now you may have slightly answered this already, but I just want to reiterate, when would be a good time? Okay, when should I ask a medium for help if I'm already comfortable communicating with my guides myself? Because I know a lot of people in our, especially our community, are very comfortable with spirit. So why would they need somebody like yourself to help them with that?
I think probably the number one is grief. When they've just lost somebody and they're not, since they have all this grief in their heart and in this, and their mindset is not okay, um, they just want to know that their loved one is okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest ones. And maybe if they don't have that clarity of mind where they feel like their questions are being answered, like I'm going to tell you, spirit is always ready to give a message. So if you're going to a medium and you have questions, your guides and your loved ones are always there. They're like dying and chomping at the bit to talk to you. So, but I think grief when you just lost a loved one and you want to know, make sure they're okay,
Mm.
and they're doing well in the spirit world, and whatever message that they have for you, moving on in your life.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be the hardest experience is to have somebody pass and to be left behind to experience that. So I can understand why they would want to reach out and maybe not be able to do so on their own. Definitely have somebody there to help them. That's beautiful for sure. Sad, but beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Tanya, is there anything you'd like to share with us? I know you have amazing uh, offers right now. I'd love for you to just touch on that if you could.
So I'm doing hypnosis. I'm open and I'm working with Sophia Mondays and Tuesdays. So please schedule a session with me, whatever issue that you have. It's my honor to facilitate a session for you. And for the person that's saying that they don't think they had a good experience, you will definitely have a wonderful. I'll try to make it. I mean, I don't want to say I'm 100%, but we will try to make it as pleasant for you as possible, and I will do the best by you. I'm also doing chakra balancing. What else am I doing, Sophia?
I mean, you do
Oh,
Reiki.
the Reiki. Oh, I'm doing distant Reiki. I'm doing mediumship. I also do this DNA activation, which
Oh, yes, please
um,
talk about that.
so yeah, the DNA activation is something new that I incorporated with the Reiki, um, that my guidance has showed me as I'm doing Reiki for the individual. They show me the 3D blueprint of the DNA. So basically, as I'm doing Reiki on the client, the 3D DNA, like the double helix, will pop up, and I'm able to see the parts that are non-functional. Like they'll show it to me in different colors. Like for example, they'll show it to me in a red color, so I'll know, okay, that's not functioning.
Hmm.
So with the use of Reiki light, I'm able to switch it back on. And this is not something that's your DNA is completely intact. It's just there are parts of you that are dormant. Now, if you learn how to activate them yourself, you can, absolutely, in a deep meditation. You can infuse your own Reiki light into your DNA and activate it that way. But since they show it to me, I always ask permission beforehand. I'm like, listen, if they show it to me, can I activate it for you? So
Interesting.
that's something, yeah, that's something new that I started recently. And I've done it a couple of times. It's been really successful. And I balance the chakras. That way I'm able to activate them. And people are getting a good response, that people are actually feeling better and they're doing well. So that's new. That's my new.
If people are intrigued by you, I don't know what to throw at them these days because
I'm intrigued by me
you
too.
are just so interesting. Like,
I'm like a little bag of goodies. Like you never
I
know what you're gonna
know. I'm
get
like,
as a surprise.
I know. And it's like, ooh, and then. Damn, DNA activation. It's just dormant. It's still there. Interesting. So, okay, can I ask, or do you know, what would be the difference between a Reiki session without that? Like, how would I know that I had a DNA reactivation, so to speak?
I think that's a hard question. I
I
think
know.
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know because it's dormant. You would not know.
This is
But
an analytical side. I'm like, but how?
yeah, yeah, you would not know, but you would know. I guess when I'm doing Reiki on you can feel the shift of energy and you can feel the relaxation. But when I'm doing the Reiki with the DNA activation, people have noticed like a different shift about them, and they're like, "Oh my God, I can see that this has been activated in me," or like, "Oh, my spirituality gift has been activated. I can see more, I can hear more." So I guess that's maybe the difference, since it's kind of switched on, for those people. But maybe we should teach a course.
I am all for it. Like this is just so interesting. Like, and I'm so sad that we're at the tail end because we're just now touching on this. But
We're getting into the meat
um,
and potatoes.
oh my gosh, guys, we got some stuff to talk about.
I think we're gonna do a part two.
Totally, totally. Yeah, they're not going to be able to get rid of us that easily for sure. So sorry.
Yeah.
So real fast, there's a gentleman who definitely has said, "I will be in touch." Tanya, beautiful. How long is a typical session? Now, real quickly, Reiki, hypnotherapy, all those. Like, could you give us a little breakdown?
Okay, so hypnotherapy is 3 to 4 hours. Like we go in, I leave no stone unturned. I do 30 minutes to an hour of the pre-talk, the interview, getting to know each other and getting to know what you want to work on. That's an hour of that. And then the 3 hour part of hypnosis. Are you in hypnosis for 3 hours? Absolutely not. Maybe it could be 2 hours, an hour and 45, whatever it is that we're working on. Reiki sessions could be 30 minutes to an hour. Mediumship is usually an hour. I think that's it, right?
Beautiful. So, could somebody potentially come and get a Reiki and a mediumship or a hypnotherapy and a Reiki session? Or do you prefer to break some of those up? What would you recommend?
Oh, I actually do what I call a Reiki infused hypnosis session. So when you're doing hypnosis with me, you're automatically getting Reiki. So that's already incorporated. So I think basically everything I do, I use Reiki because my guidance tells me that I do it subconsciously.
That's it. Free Reiki. She's just throwing it in. Like, how about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. So you're gonna get the Reiki if you don't want it.
For sure. She's like, I mean, it is what it is. You get it. You take it. You'll be
Yeah,
happy with it. It is.
basically.
I love you. Girl, I freaking appreciate
Me
you.
too.
I appreciate you so much.
I
Everybody
appreciate you
give
too.
Tanya a round of applause. Throw up the hearts, everyone. She's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you, Sophia.
You are just so incredible and talented and such a wonderful teacher and guide. And thank you for doing what you do because I know you impact so many people's lives for the good. And I'm so happy to have you a part of Divine Healers Haven. I'm truly just so grateful.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you so much, Soul Family, for having us and for, partaking in this wonderful time. And we are going to be back for more.
Yes, guys, thank you. And thank you for bearing with me about the little time mix up. I meant to put the 5 on top and the 8 on the bottom, but I did it the opposite. So, it happens. Whatever.
No worries.
So if you want to book with Tanya, please send us a message. I can definitely get you set up with that. She offers sessions directly through her page, as well as through my page. We have packages with other healers, some special offerings as well. So please get in contact. We'll be happy to just talk it all out, see what you need. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction. And obviously, Tanya is one of the best people healers I've ever met. So you can't go wrong if you book with her.
You're so kind. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Tanya. Love you, everybody. Appreciate
Thank you. Love you guys. Have a good night.
it. Take care.